Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Chris.
and we're the leftovers.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
I did not agree to that.
Hey, Chris,
Hey, Mark.
I have a question for you.
And that would be?
Control.
I don't care.
Control. What's the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the word control? I know, Janet Jackson.
No, I'm hoping I can control you to not do that ever again.
Ask you a question?
No, I'm talking about the hand movements.
Oh, that's where I'm. Janet Jackson, control.
No, I don't think of Janet Jackson.
The word control. What comes to your mind?
Having the ability to make someone or something do what you want it or them to do.
That's good. That sounds right. No cards or anything. Good. I like it.
I never have any notes.
You did one time.
One time, but everything else is off the top of my head.
Wow. To
That's not
exercise restraint or direction over. To hold in check. That is control.
Is that the Webster's Dictionary?
Yes, actually. Merriam-Webster. Same, I guess.
Yes, that is correct.
Control. So that's what we're talking about today. Control.
I didn't agree to that.
But still going to talk about it.
All right. What do you want to talk about control?
Well, the first one, to, as it said in the definition, to exercise restraint. Sounds to me like self-control, controlling oneself. Some would ask, is that even possible?
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, we have to use self-control every day,
Have to.
whether it's deciding on what you want for breakfast. Do you want that sugary cereal or do you want
Yes.
that
No.
apple that's better for you?
What if you put the apple in the cereal?
It doesn't make it healthy, but
You know, when you drink a soda, it has water in it.
that's what I tell my wife every day. Coke has water, just with about half of it being sugar.
So, control, self-control specifically. So my answer and your answer was yes. We do have, or should have. Is it possible? Yes.
Correctamundo.
There's the mundo. Because if you don't have control of you, who does? Nobody.
Well, that's not true either.
Yes, it is.
No, there's
Yes, it is.
there's
No.
a lot of things that have control over your life every day that we just let do it.
The question here was self, meaning you, controlling self, meaning you, self-control. No one else can have self-control of you.
That's not what I was saying. I was saying that other things have control. I didn't say that they had self-control over you. I just said they had control.
True. That's the whole show, though, the control. This little paragraph is self-control.
We're just having a conversation.
This little paragraph in my mind.
Yes, I know you want to go in a certain order, but this is a conversation.
I like conversation. That's why we do this. We want to have a conversation.
I need therapy, so this is my therapy.
Therapists are in control.
Okay, continue with what you had.
Okay, self-control. So, yes, it is possible. We've answered that.
Yes.
It is possible.
It's
Because if-
necessary.
Yes. Because if you don't have control of you, who does? Right?
Correct.
Correct.
And if no one has control of you, that's not a good thing.
That's a problem. Self-control. So, this can work for good and, of course, for bad. So, let's say you're driving too fast. You have lost all control of the vehicle. Or, no, you have control, but you're stepping down on the gas. You know, you're getting on it a little bit. You're on I-40, speed limit 70. You're running 90. Nobody's really giving you an issue over it. You're in the fast lane. You think you're in Germany. Autobahn. Let's give it what it's got.
If I was on the Autobahn, it would be a whole lot faster than 90.
Well, I'm saying traffic. If it wasn't for traffic, this whole deal's, whatever we got. So if you're driving down the interstate, 90, 100, 110, with the traffic we have, you have lost, or
Other people have lost their control over the road because you
wait a minute.
decided to take the initiative to take control over the road because everybody's got to go around you being reckless.
they can't go around you if you're doing 100.
You knew what I'm.
No, you lost me.
Everybody has to watch out for you.
Watch out for okay.
They have to use.
But you got to do that anyway. You got to watch out for folks anyway, whether they're speeding or going 25 in a 70.
But you have to control yourself.
Mm-hmm. We have to take it almost for granted that other people are going to stay in control of. When you're on a 2-lane highway, and you've always got a car head on, heading the opposite direction than you. I always wonder what keeps them in that lane.
They don't want to run head first into you.
I mean, oh yeah, I get that, but tire blows, animal runs out, you just lose control for just a second. You're in the other lane. That's trouble. So, how really in control are we of our vehicles? I mean, to a degree, it's on the edge at all times.
It's like I've been told my whole life. You can't control what others do. You can just control yourself.
That is true. Remember what the
Self-control.
deer did to your wife's van?
Yeah.
Who was in control there?
The van would be my wife. Of that deer was the deer.
Ramming its head in the window, the deer.
Yeah, the window right behind my wife where my child was sitting. Yeah, that deer
poor
had control of its head going through that window.
Poor thing.
Yet she still loves deer.
I know that's
That's
hard
a
to
little
believe.
weird.
So if you don't take control of your speeding, guess who will?
The popo.
Every time.
Not every time.
Almost every time.
I wouldn't even say that.
A lot of the time.
Let's just get off this conversation because
Some of the time. Eventually. If you're an excessive speeder, eventually they will take care of you. Maybe not the first time or the 12th time,
or the 100th.
but they will get you. Bad boys, bad boy. What you gonna do? So another thing we need to show self-control. Alcohol use. Alcohol use.
Alcohol.
Alcohol use. Self-control. Can an adult drink alcohol? Yes, they can. But excessive alcohol, and for everybody that's different. For me, it's 0. But for the person that likes the after work drink, maybe 1 and they're good. Maybe 2 and they're in the ditch. Not sure. But
If they're in the ditch after 2, they've got a problem.
like you take me for example, I do not drink alcohol. So 1, I'm liable to be out in the ditch.
No.
We're not going to find out. I'm just saying.
I'm just telling you that if you are sloshed after 2 drinks or even
Yes.
3 drinks, you need to get looked at because there's something wrong with your body.
No, I would be, Chris. I would
you
be.
wouldn't.
We're not. You're not getting me to drink.
I'm not trying to get you to drink. I'm just
I
trying.
have self-control.
You and I have had this conversation about
Yes,
alcohol.
and we're trying to let the people know.
You and I have different views on the intake of alcohol,
Mhm.
and so we're just going to leave that there,
We're going to leave it where.
where I have the pin in it, and we're going to continue on with the first conversation.
We're going to leave it under there. Yes, we are. So, showing self-control when you're consuming alcohol as an adult. You got to be 21 to get that stuff.
In America, outside of America,
Well, that's where we're at. We're going to talk about America.
Well, we were talking about the guy from Belgium that
We
listens
were
to us.
talking about him, and we thank you, Belgium
person.
person.
Can't say it's a guy or a girl.
We have no idea.
But in other countries, the legal drinking age is different.
Less?
Some countries, yeah. I don't think there's actually a country. I think all of them are under the U.S.
Less?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I think Canada is like 19.
I've never traveled abroad.
I mean, I haven't traveled abroad either, but I listen to other people when they talk.
Traveled on abroad one time, but not abroad.
See, you're deciding to not use self-control on your innuendos that you're using.
I'm totally in control. So, you know what? Another thing that people think they have control of is when they get online, look at some nudie pics. Like, I've got control of this. A couple of nudes, a couple of nudie pics. I've got it. And then next thing you know,
Nudie pics.
next thing you know, 2 turns into 4, turns into 9, 29, 32. You follow me? It's going higher. More pics, more pics. That's not self-control. See, I've got control of this. You're looking at a pretend world, thinking that's what I want to be in. Pretend world. That's no self-control.
We all have things, whether it's drinking porn,
Drinking porn, driving fast. Sounds like a song.
We all think we have control when it comes to drinking alcohol or watching porn,
Unless
or driving
you
fast.
do not drink alcohol, drive fast, or look at porn.
Do all three at one time.
Or you can just do them all. Drink some energy drinks on top of it. Or 3 of them.
Well, that's dangerous. That's why they had to quit
It
with
is.
Four Locos.
Huh?
There's an alcoholic beverage called Four Locos.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it was a beer-ish, I guess, that
With
had...
air quotes.
Well, I don't know if it was an actual beer, but it was an alcoholic beverage.
Okay.
And alcohol is a suppressant.
Okay.
So you mix a suppressant with a basically
Be the first caller.
alcohol's a downer.
Mhm.
It's supposed to calm you.
Stimulant.
Stimulant, yes.
Mhm.
You have a depressant and a stimulant,
Wow.
and you mix them together. Kind of
Should even out, shouldn't it?
you would think, but no, it really messes with your body. And
You don't know what to do.
but I mean,
go up.
but I think a lot of people drink to lose control
Yes, I think so.
because they
What do you think the percentage of that is? The people that drink alcohol. The adults that drink alcohol.
I'd say the people,
Well,
not just adults. I mean, I know of kids.
yes, and I'm going to say the majority of them are drinking to be inebriated. They're not drinking for fun, or they are drinking for fun. They're not casually drinking. They're drinking to be sloshed, if that's a word.
They want to lose control.
Yes. But let's just say adult, 21 and over. How many of those are drinking alcohol in excess on purpose just to lose vision of, what's happening right now? What I'm thinking about 85,
No.
90.
No.
Higher?
No.
No?
Say the
Even if... Go ahead.
the percentage of people that are drinking on purpose to get sloshed and lose control, I think
Wait a minute. Drinking on purpose? Do you drink on accident? I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
No, the percentage of people that drink to lose control or get sloshed, well, the same thing, but I think is a very small number.
Oh, wow.
People drink to get buzzed and relax.
Now, hold on. Hold on. So you don't think relaxing, I'm doing my air quotes, relaxing and losing, what was the word? Control?
Losing control?
Aren't the same thing?
No.
No? Well, maybe your definition is just different.
No. When you are buzzed, gives you a feeling of calmness. Whereas if you keep going and keep going, you do lose control of your inhibitions. What then can cause you to do something stupid or.
But you don't think just one drink's going to make you do something stupid?
I mean, it can, but I mean, for the majority of people, no.
I just get off of that. I'm tired of talking about it.
Because you know I'm right.
Sure, you can be right. Eating too much. Well, there's some self-control for you.
What are you
Eating
trying to
too-
say? I know I'm fat. You
Shut
don't have
up. Eating too much sugar will what?
give
Make
you
you
diabetes.
diabetic, right? Spikes your blood sugar. Makes you weird. Makes you do things you normally wouldn't do. Some people would say if you saw a person on the road that maybe had some issues with their sugar and it had spiked or dropped out, that you might look at them driving and think they're inebriated. I've seen that happen on cops before.
You just the show Cops or on?
Yes, the show.
Yeah,
Bad boys, bad boys. That one.
I mean, you gotta be in control of what you put in your body and what you let come out of your body.
Ooh, that's a different topic.
No, so that's the same topic.
Do you really have control of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sugar.
No. I'm gonna finish this.
No.
If you don't know what your body can and cannot handle, then your body will release things in certain ways.
You want me to tell you about my cashew allergy?
No, I don't.
I have no control of that.
You have no control over your You do, though, because you can control what you put into your body.
But when it first happened, I didn't know I couldn't. Because for years, I could eat cashews, a can at a time. Loved them. Probably why my blood pressure's so high. Loved cashews. And then some issues showed up. And let's just say, wow, nut allergy.
So you're allergic to nuts.
All forms.
So why are
Even in creamy form. Chunky and creamy. Peanut butter, which I love. Duh. Cannot eat it anymore.
well,
Salt.
so
In excess,
give you a heart attack.
jack up your blood pressure, cause you have a heart attack. So consumers of salt that we are, we need to be very
Mindful of our intake of the sodium.
Thank you for finishing my sentence. Yes, need to be very mindful of our intake of salt. And, there's salt in a lot of things you wouldn't even think salt was in. Put salt in water.
Yeah.
Salty water. We're drinking it. Make you want more water.
Yeah, they put salt in it to dry your mouth out to make you think that you want more water.
That is smart. Never who done that was really smart.
Or really dumb.
No. Sell more that way. It's about the money. And then the other thing I was thinking about eating too much of. You got sugar, you got salt. What's the third one?
Vegetables.
Meatloaf. Too much meatloaf.
You and meatloaf. I mean, goodness.
Too much meatloaf will give you a stomach ache. I love meatloaf. Love it. But I'm going to tell you, when I eat the whole meatloaf myself, it's not good. You think it's good. It's not good.
It's like me with the certain hamburger helpers.
Oh, all of them.
There's
Every
a few,
box.
There's a few I don't like, but it's like,
But do you not eat in excess? Yes, because that stuff is good.
so good.
That is the good stuff.
Oh, it was just I guess it was earlier on in the week, my sister had made a bunch of hamburger helper for everybody. And I just loaded my plate up.
Yes. Did you have mashed potatoes?
No, there was nothing else. I had just the hamburger
I'm
helper.
with you. If you don't have mashed potatoes, that's cool, but
the entirety of the plate was just the
Yes.
hamburger helper.
rounded out.
And after it cooled off and I ate it,
Mm.
what did I do?
Went back for
That is
went back for
exactly
the
correct.
bellyache. Because after the first helping, you can probably get by. But when that second one shows,
He's just so
no
good.
self-control. Self-control out the window
We all lose self-control at times.
on Hamburger Helper.
Yeah. Well, for me, yes.
Yes.
Hamburger Helper and pizza.
Pizza. All right.
I'm
Shifting
hungry.
gears just a little on that, but
Let's
same
get off
thought.
the food. I'm hungry.
Lifting weights, working out in general, seems good. Seems good. Get your muscle tone worked up, get some muscles going on. But
You
in
want to take us to
excess-
this gun show?
if you don't show control over what you're lifting, you think another couple 45s on there, I got it. Somebody's watching, and next thing you know, hurt your back. Wasn't worth it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your muscles get so big that you
Oh,
can't touch
yeah,
your shoulder.
that's been a problem. No, there used to be one exercise I like to do at the gym, the power clink. No, not power clink.
My favorite exercise at the gym is at the YMCA is the sitting in the hot tub.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's
one.
my favorite one.
At the Planet Fitness, it's the aqua massager.
Those are the best workouts right there.
Awesome. But if you overdo weightlifting, you can overdo any exercise.
Yeah.
Just using that for example, because I did it and hurt my back, and now that exercise is I will not attempt it again because I'm afraid it's going to happen again.
Well,
But it was all about in excess. I try to do a little more. No control. Lighter weight, more reps. I didn't learn that early enough.
Well, I mean, when I was in high school playing football, everything, if we weren't on the football field practicing, it was, you need to be in the gym. You need to be in the gym. And so you can work out too much to where you've worked your muscles so hard that they just break down on you and you have no use of them.
Yep.
You got to be in control of not only what you're lifting and how you're lifting, but how much or how many times you're lifting.
Mm-hmm. And so there was one other self-control that I was wondering about, and I know you were. Mouth. Controlling your mouth. Mouth produces words. And, sticks and stones will hurt my
Sticks and
bones.
stones will break my bones, but
Yeah.
words will never hurt me.
That one. But that's not necessarily true. Words hurt. And
I do agree it hurts your feelings, but at the same time, feelings, we put too much in society on feelings. Because if we make someone feel bad, then we shouldn't do it. And when it comes to making rules for something, or in government making policies for things, it shouldn't be on feelings. It needs to be on statistics and, physical aspects, not just someone's feelings.
statistically speaking, if someone says F you, it's going to make you feel bad.
Depends
So
on
you stick statistics
it
and your
depends on
feelings
who it's
together.
from.
Really?
This Joe Blow off the street or on the road says F you to me, I don't care.
Really?
But if I'm fighting with my wife and she
Ooh.
says it,
Ooh,
then yeah, it would make me feel bad.
because of your connection to your wife.
Correct.
But if you loved everyone, like we talked about earlier this week,
That was just me and you. We didn't do a podcast on that.
okay.
Let's not go into that.
okay. But if you loved everyone, then their remarks would affect you. Just saying.
Well, there's different. We're not going to get on to the different types of love.
Stay tuned. Not just controlling yourself, but what about controlling others? Parents to kids. If you have
even then, I still don't have all the control over my child.
no.
They
But
still have to use self-control.
I'm saying though, if you do not at least try to control your kids.
They're gonna run wild.
You've seen these kids at Walmart
Okay,
or the grocery store, and they're just running wild. Ah!
I used to
Used to
think
be that kid.
Yeah, I did. But I used to think that seeing these parents with their kids on leashes, I was like, oh my goodness, you can't control your kid. You don't need to have them. Don't need to put a kid on a leash.
Did you use that voice?
Yeah.
I liked it.
But now
It's a different
now that
story.
I have a 3-year-old.
Now that you have a leash.
Actually, I don't have one. I wish I did. You don't know how many times we go out to places and I'm like, why didn't I buy a leash to put on you?
Well, it just takes a little more work when you don't have a leash.
But I understand why
Yes.
these people had leashes on.
Well,
their kids.
years ago, before I had children, we would sit in church and somebody's kid would be throwing a fit in the back. I didn't turn around and look. But a lot of people would. And so I didn't think much about it until I was that person and my kid starts making noise. And that lady that looked around for you is looking at me. I just went out the back door. I feel sorry for parents that are trying to sit through a church service with their child and it's just not having it. That's a difficult thing, but it's a necessary thing. And for parents, they totally understand what you're doing. You're trying to control that situation as much as you can. It comes to a point when it's time to get up and get out.
Well, there's some people that do. It's like when I'm in church, it's not for the fact that I care that someone's looking that I want my child to be quiet. It's the fact that we're worshiping and everybody else should be able to worship. They should be able to worship without having to hear kids scream or cry or.
But if it happens once or twice, usually the parent will get up and take the child out. Usually.
Not my wife. Oh, she just
rock
lets
and roll with it.
So where we go to church, we have both my parents go to church there, and her parents just started going there. Well, my little girl's got both sets of grandparents right there. She don't want to sit still.
Time for fun.
Yeah, she won't sit there and talk to her grandparents, and I'm just like, wife.
And I'm like, wife.
But I'm just like,
wife.
Gotta quiet her down. It's disrespectful to other people who want to.
But I still think they understand. I think they know.
I get it. People can understand, but I mean
Most.
But that at the same time though, they shouldn't have to understand. We should be able to. I'm
gonna be honest with you, Chris. Can I call you Chris?
No. Yes.
Sir. I love to hear a child making noise in a church service. Ask me why. Or don't.
Well, I was going to say something, but I was just trying to figure out how to say it first.
That is the future. Yeah. And I'm glad that parent brings their child to church and they're not stuffing it in a room in the back corner, but they have it there with them. And that child can see mom, dad, siblings, uncles, aunts, grandmother, grandfather, the whole list. They can see that person worshiping. And that child knows, I want to be like them. I love to hear a child getting restless. Now, mom and dad need to deal with it if it gets crazy. But for the most part, it really love it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of churches nowadays, they've got their children's church for the kids to go to.
I don't like it. Sorry. Not sorry.
I mean, I see it from both ways. Where
I do.
But I am of the same. I'm of the same thinking there, where kids should be in the pews with the parents.
Yes.
at the same time, though, they need to be able to learn at a level that is of their.
The more they're out there, the more they'll learn, I think.
Well, the more they're out there, the more they learn how to act in service. But majority of the time, the church service is going to be way over their head.
Oh, to me, that having the child out there is just a right here thing. It's just to learn this is where we need to be. This is what my parents do. This is what I hope to do. It's a time to learn. And then if you get something out of what's being said, that's great. Some of that.
Where, as if you were to, not all the time, but every, 3 out of the 4 weeks of the month, you take them back to a little room and you teach them at their level.
Sure. Yeah. A blend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they still do need to learn how to sit in service with mom and dad.
Yes. We're on the same boat. It's not a submarine.
That's going to look at the Titanic.
So, I'll quit saying so. I don't like doing that.
I say a lot.
So you're in control of your kids to some degree. Some degree. Like when they're infants, you're giving them milk. You got to control. You got to control their intake.
Yep.
Because you throw too much in that deal,
and it comes right back out.
You got to control their food intake, what they intake. When they get a little older, maybe how much they watch the iPad or the cell phone. You've got to be in control of that stuff to some degree. Now, me as a parent have to know there's a time to ease up on the reins, and they need to start making decisions. And personally, the earlier the better. Now, it's difficult, very difficult, to let your child screw up something on purpose. You see it coming, but they've got to mess that up in order to learn on it. That's the only way they're going to learn.
That is very. I'm figuring out that doing stuff like that is very difficult.
Very difficult, and you're not going to sleep good over it. But at the end of the day, wow, it's really good for the child, though. Really good.
Is it though?
Yes, they have to.
I know
they have to fall off the bike.
It's hard to let them figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to control myself so that they can learn what's good for them. Because if I don't allow them to make the mistakes, they won't learn the same way as if I just tell them.
Yep. So in a relationship, girls and boys, if one is really controlling of the other, disaster.
But is it a disaster
of the relationship?
But is it though?
Yes.
Why is that?
I'm glad you asked.
Because
some people like to be controlled, plain and simple. Usually men like their woman to control them. I've witnessed this for lots of years. And I think when you have an overloaded, controlling person, overloaded, is that right? Overloaded, controlling, sure. Overloading, controlling person in a relationship.
Overbearing.
That's good. Whether it's woman or the guy, girl or guy, controlling. If you've got one just controlling all the whatnots, then that's not a healthy relationship. I listened to a radio program this morning on my way to work. I won't mention who it was, what it was, but what they talked about. Simple. They were ordering out last night. Each individual was for their family. One lady was ordering for her husband and her. And she said, well, if I waited on him to order, we wouldn't eat. She said, I always have to order. And then the other guy on the program said his wife was the same way. She ordered for them, or she cooked for them. And, you know, he didn't have anything to do with it. So on and on and on, I'm here. And that's just a small example of how many times I hear of women controlling the relationship.
Well, I mean, I can't tell you how many times growing up I heard the saying, happy wife, happy life. It's
It's a lie.
Yeah. Because your wife can be happy, but it doesn't mean
Makes
you're
you
going to be
miserable.
happy.
Yeah, needs to be happy couple. Happy couple. Happy life. It needs to be a give and take. One does not need to be super controlling. Do you have to control certain segments of your relationship? Yes. There are certain segments of your relationship that your wife expects you to control. And you should. And there's things in your relationship where she needs to control and you expect it out of her, and she should. And so together, that makes a healthy relationship. But when one of them is just controlling everything, because it's easier to be quiet. It's easier to be quiet and not say anything.
Yeah, because then you end up in a fight, and then,
You know what I said? At least that is communication.
yeah.
An argument is communication.
But, I mean, there's not a lot of
There?
there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that
There.
they don't want to deal with the yelling, screaming, arguing.
Usually men. Usually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's a majority of the women these days thrive on the yelling and screaming.
Divorce is rampant, and I hate it.
Who divorces more, men or women?
I'm going to say women.
That's right. Women
They control that too.
file for divorce. I think I read it's like 80%.
I was going to guess 80. Every guy I know divorced, they didn't want it.
Yeah. And that's not the only thing. I mean, majority of breakups are girls breaking up with the guy.
Wow. Think about that. Control.
This isn't a woman bashing
No, it's
session.
not.
It's
Just
it's
turned
statistics.
It's statistics.
The guys are usually the ones that cower and just let the people let the woman do what she wants when they should step up and say something, but because they don't want to deal with the argument or deal with the fighting, they don't think it's important, so they just let it go.
Yep. Control, Chris. Non-human control. Non-human control. What comes to mind there, I wonder?
Animal control.
No. But maybe.
Animals aren't human. You
They
said
are
non-human control. That
did.
makes me think of animal control.
It's something. The military has remotely controlled weapons.
That's still being controlled by a human. Just from
By remote.
remote.
So ours don't get harmed, but we kill theirs. Seems a little cowardice to me on the front end. But
No, it gives you the ability to use your weapons without having
to have your people killed, to kill the
or
others,
put them in harm's way.
kill the others. All right.
I mean,
Cars.
Is it so bad not to put humans in danger?
Humans, yes, but not yours and mine. Doesn't make sense.
So when you're fighting an enemy that's wanting to kill you,
Mhm.
I mean,
Chris, I'm gonna guess that's a whole different show.
well, I'm just going off that sentence right there. You were like,
Sure,
seems kind of cowardly to
it does.
you, not to me.
Okay, that's fine.
To me, I see it as smart. I mean, you have the ability to fight your opponent without putting your people in harm's way.
That is what that is. Cars that control themselves.
Self-driving cars.
Vehicles that has control of itself. What do you think about cars driving themselves, controlling themselves?
I don't think we're anywhere close to letting cars drive themselves.
They're out there.
Not completely.
Yeah.
No.
But you're in the car with them, with the car. That's just what we know about.
The cars that have been tested as quote unquote self-driving, which means no human.
What would be the purpose though? Cars are for transportation, get you from A to B. Why have a car just go A to B with nobody in it? Makes no sense.
Well, they do it to test it before putting humans in harm. They allow it to be tested through obstacles, make sure it doesn't hit anything, which is yet to happen.
So you're not a big fan?
Not right now, because almost every vehicle that they've tested, the complete non-human driving, there's been terrible accidents. Cause
you know you got to get to A before you get to B.
Yeah,
Just saying.
but I mean they're nowhere near where they need to be for driverless cars.
I think they are.
You and I differ.
So how does that help the trucking industry? Trucks driving down the road, they don't have to have an hour count, don't have to have naps, and just get down the road.
Well, they would have to have times work for the system to cool down so it doesn't overheat.
Yeah, when they drop the load.
Well, it depends on how far it's going.
North Carolina to California.
There would have to be a stop.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope. We could do this all day.
We could, and you could be wrong all day. You have the right to be
I
wrong.
usually am. You're right.
You have the right to be wrong,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it comes to technology.
Yes. No. Maybe.
Yes.
No. Maybe.
It's just yes. There's no
Autonomous
maybe.
cars, military remotely controlled weapons, and here's another one. Let's talk about the control of our cell phones and screens.
My phone doesn't have a control of me.
Oh, yeah?
Couldn't
All right.
you hear the sarcasm in my voice?
A little bit. I did see a little, or hear a little bit.
You saw the sarcasm in my voice.
I saw the sarcasm. Take this back to middle of the 1900s. I wasn't live.
I was
You
gonna say, I
wasn't live.
live yet.
Power of TV and film.
It wasn't anywhere near where it is these days.
Well, I wonder. Population was less, and new gadget would prompt, everyone to want to see. And
But at the same time, the population was fewer,
Mhm.
but so was the amount of TV and movie. I mean, entertainment was.
wonder what the percentage of people in the 60s that had a television versus the percentage of people today that have, let's say, cell phone internet connection.
So I was listening. Where was it? I was listening to something. And they were talking about how the amount of televisions in a home in the 60s was like.
There had to be one.
It was less than one because not every household had a
Oh,
TV.
yeah. Okay.
Now,
You meant what? Yeah, but I don't think amount really matters as much as just having it.
it matters because
No.
yes, because the amount of information being sent to a single home matters. Back in even your day,
Nope.
back in the early
3 channels
dark, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. You had 3 channels,
plus channel 8 when you were lucky.
okay.
And
You had-
later on, channel 17. They'd have a special antenna for that. Wow, that
Okay.
just seems like a million years, but it wasn't.
Well, I mean, when I was growing up, cable and satellite was the brand new thing.
New stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we had the rabbit ears up until I want to say 13 or 14.
Well, when I was an early teenager, we got cable, and the Chicago station, WGN,
WGN.
had the Cubs,
And the White Sox.
they had the Bulls. I never watched the. When I got home from school, the Cubs seemed to always be on, and Wrigley Field. I hate it. You know how do I feel about that sport? Hate baseball. Hate it.
How dare you?
But
That's all you could watch.
that really drew me in. It controlled me, if you will. I loved watching the Cubs, not so much for the sport, I guess, but after a day of school, kind of like after work, cooling down, calming down, getting your thoughts, and there's the Cubs song. So I related that to comfort, and loved watching the Cubs for many, many years. I didn't know anything about Chicago. I come out to be loved the Bears, loved the Bulls, loved the Cubs at the time.
The Bears.
That was my thing, all because that channel come in to my house.
Well, back what I was saying is like when I was 13, 14, whenever we got the
Whenever
satellite.
we got the money.
No, whenever we got the satellite, we got satellite because of my uncle being the coach for the Minnesota Twins. We got
Did you have the large satellite dish?
no, my grandparents did.
Okay.
Oh, it was. I found it hilarious. We
Yes.
could go out there and depending on what channel we wanted to watch,
Yes.
we could watch it spin. Thing
They
was
say if it's aiming straight up, that was the special channel.
no, but when we finally got satellite,
There were the smaller ones.
it was a smaller one. We got it because my uncle, being part of the Twins, we had DirecTV. It was the first year they came out with their extra innings package, which was like you could get the baseball game all over, no matter where it was. And we went from 8 to 9 different channels to over like 500 channels.
It's overkill.
Yeah. but what I'm getting at is back in the day they had 3, 4, 5 channels.
Mm-hmm. I lived that.
There was only so much media that could be produced.
But it was really the opposite of when you add water. I can't think.
Dehydrate.
No.
You said the opposite of adding water, which is taking water out, which is dehydrating.
Concentrated. It was really concentrated. So when you just got 3 or 4 channels, you're limited on what you can see. So when the late night news comes on, that's all you have. You watched it. I lived that. You watched it. Now, children, my kids, they don't watch no news. They don't have any idea. Whatever comes on their phone,
Yeah.
that's their news. But watching it on 245 don't happen.
But with them having their phone, they can have
That's a whole different. Yeah. That's.
But what I'm getting at is where we are today, you can have 8, 9, 10 different views coming at you from every angle straight to your phone. Whereas back in the day when there was 3, 4, 5 channels, the most you could have is 5. And majority of the time, it was 2 sides coming at you. You had the left side and the right side. Now there's so many different degrees of where the left and the right are,
That's true.
and they can all be coming at you at one time.
Yep. So I was, talking about the power or the control television has. We talked about the 1950s. I was thinking about 70s, 80s when I was growing up. That Saturday morning cartoons was hugely, if that's the word, in control of my whole day. When I got out of bed Saturday morning, Super Friends come on at 7 or 7:30, something like that. And I'm watching that, That controlled my whole day. And so I had to watch, I forget the order that was on Saturday mornings, but that started it. And somewhere around 11 o'clock, you had Championship Wrestling. That was good stuff. And so that kind of controlled, my whole day. I had to stay in front of the television at least until 12 to get the wrestling watched. And had to be there at least by 7 to get the Super Friends watched. So in between there, I forget what was on, but I think about that today, and sports kind of has control of me like that. So if the football team's going to play at 12 Sunday, I'm rushing home from church. And if they're not playing that day, maybe I hang over a little bit. Kind of got control of me,
Well, I mean, that comes to today where I don't have to rush home to watch watch a sports game. I can record it.
Good point.
And watch it from the very beginning and skip commercials.
You can watch it on your way home on your phone.
Yeah, I mean, I could do that. I mean, technology has come technology has come very far from even 20 years ago, and it is taking control of a lot of people's lives, including myself.
Yes. And if you say it hasn't, I think you're just fooling yourself.
Yeah. I mean, we bought these microphones, record onto this laptop.
About the 2 turntables.
You didn't bring them this week, so.
Next week. Maybe it's the 1 turntable and the 2 microphones. Something like that.
So when are we recording our album?
Never. So I was asking myself a question. Is it that the TV controls the human, or is it the lack of control of humans that lets the TV control them, or the cell phone?
I think it's the second one.
The lack of control?
Yeah.
Yes.
So many people want to not have, what's the word I'm thinking?
Control.
No.
Love.
People don't want to have the responsibility of their own actions. Because literally when something bad happens, what's the first thing you come up with? An excuse.
Yep.
So if we can put it off on something like, oh, well, this person on this YouTube channel at this time told me I needed to do this.
So you do it, or you what?
I was looking right at you and you threw me off.
I was getting ready for my next thought.
You and your thoughts. Back to what I was talking about is like so many of these people listen to the big news outlets and use that as a thermometer of where the country is.
No, I don't. I'm going to, can you say unagree with you? Not agree?
Disagree.
Going to disagree with you, Chris.
Why are you going to disagree?
I don't think the majority of people are watching major news outlets. That's my thought on it.
Then what are they listening to?
Quick snippets of this and that.
I've never heard of this and that.
Really?
Where's this and that?
It's everywhere. It's all over the place. It's here and there.
Well, what I'm getting at is in our country, the 2-party system has its fingernails in majority of everything in our country, whether it's TVs, movies, YouTube videos, wherever you watch videos, listen to music. It all has snippets of one side or the other trying to push you to believe what others believe.
You think that's on purpose?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's just who people are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If they cast you tomorrow to be in the next Rocky movie, because there'll be another one, they put starring Chris in the next Rocky 17, and you have a lead role, and you're going to be the new trainer for Rocky's grandson.
It would have to be his great grandson.
Do you not think who you are would come across? Or do you think the script's going to flip you into something you're not? Maybe.
I mean, it can.
But there's going to be interviews, and there's going to be, they're going to say, hey, Chris, how did you get in this role? How did you become the next trainer to Rocky's great-grandson? And
how did I get into the character, or how did I get the part?
The part. We're talking real life.
Okay, getting the part would just be acting. But I mean, there's plenty of actors out there that act differently than the person they are. That's what acting is. You don't think that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is jumping off of a skyscraper from 20 feet between two sections, otherwise he's going to fall to his death. No, he's acting.
But we were talking about like right or left and who you really are. So when Dwayne Johnson does an interview on Conan, does Conan still have a show?
No, they kicked him off the air, sadly.
If Dwayne Johnson has a interview on our podcast, do you not think that the real Dwayne would show up? It would be, you think he's always in character?
When he's doing press and stuff, yeah. When he is doing something in front of a camera that can
he's always on, I guess.
Yeah, in those situations, not necessarily all the time, but when he does pressers or...
What about you? Do you think you're always on when the mic's open or the camera's on or, running?
No, because...
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, there's a large difference between me and The Rock.
No, you're both put your pants on the same way.
No, he has people that can put his pants on for him.
It's okay. Still the same. So the World Wide Web. Nobody calls it that anymore, I'm sure.
The internet.
The World Wide Web.
They call it the internet.
Has control. Has control of us, whether we admit to it or not.
Everything's on the internet.
Everything.
Thing.
Things we need to see, things we do not need to see. Everything. And it has control of us. TikTok. 20-second snippet of something.
Not anymore.
A guy cutting a piece of wood. A lady stirring Jell-O. Everything's on. A car engine replacement. Everything's on there, and it's one after another. If you're flipping, and you think, what does this have to do with anything? What am I doing?
It's what you're interested in.
What am I looking at? Is this really what I want to be doing?
Maybe.
Rather than having a conversation with someone. I've watched our workplace, 100 of it. I think we got 101 now. All 101 of us, or is it 2? 102.
Continue
Possibly.
with your thought.
I've noticed when we have a break time,
we're not talking to each other.
The majority of us are looking at our cell phone, not having conversation with one another.
Because maybe we don't like each other.
Shame.
Maybe we don't like each other.
Do we like our cell phone more than we like the next person that we're supposed to love?
I mean, you can love somebody without liking them.
Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You go to the like stage before you love somebody, not after, not while. Love is love. That's it. So when we spend, and I say we because we do this, and spend way too much time looking at cell phones and not having legitimate conversation with people. Why do you think depression, anxiety is so rampant? Because you're not going. If you had a conversation with a coworker and you said, hey, coworker A, B, C,
DEFGHIJKLMNOP
The whole.
QRSTUVWXYZ.
all 101 others of you than me, I have an issue. And it's tough at home. Wife makes me sleep in the doghouse. And so maybe you hear from a coworker, hey, I've been through that too, man. Here's what you do. Here's what I would do. If she won't let you inside, just come on over to my house. Hang out. Versus, hey, let's see what the next whiz bang is on TikTok.
What's a whiz bang?
Exactly. What do you actually look at on TikTok? Absolutely nothing. Versus having a real conversation with a real human being with real problems and real happinesses that they need to share with other folks that they're not doing. That cell phone has control of us, and it's not a good thing. If I see it in our small 102 people company, I know it's going on everywhere. Has to be. Ding, 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 ding. If you've stayed with us this long, we sure appreciate it. You're a friend. Thank you for listening. And our only way to say thanks right now, it's the only way we have, is to mention you on the show. So, if you're the first one to text 615-330-3644, you're the first one to text, give this word control on the text, and then you can say your name on there or a little sentence, and we will say something about you on the next show. Whatever you want us to say. Either your name, your pretend name, a sentence, whatever you have. Additionally, if you want to give us future show topics or something, we welcome that. And we thank you for that. If you're the first one, you got it. Control, Chris. The next control I want to mention is losing control.
Music make me lose control. Music make me lose control. Let's go. The song.
You ever felt like you've lost total control? That's a tough position.
I don't think I've ever lost total control. I've lost control.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Lost a lot of control. That's not fun on the other side of it. While you're in it and your ears are you can't hardly hear and, all of that. Losing control is not good. There's not one person that says, oh, yeah, I can't wait to lose control.
We should always have control over ourselves.
Yes, self-control that we started with.
Because if we don't have control over ourselves, then
the law will.
If we don't have control over ourselves,
bad things are going to happen.
Are we really living?
Yes. As long as your heart's beating, you are. You think about losing control. The way I was thinking was, like if you were in a car and someone cut you off and you run in a ditch or hit something, and boy, you're mad. You're thinking of everything that's going to take place after this, insurance, getting another vehicle, or maybe going to the hospital. Maybe it hurts your child that's in the back seat. You're mad. You're livid, whatever that means. You're just upset. Boy, you just want to take care of somebody. And possibly the car that caused all that just kept going. So are you upset? Are you losing control? Because you lost control of the vehicle. But are you going to lose control of your emotions? So what if that person that caused all the problems make a U-turn down there at the end of the road and they come back to check on you? Are you going to give it to them? You going to give them the business? Or are you going to be like, man, we're lucky. We're lucky.
I just talking about that example. I can't tell you how many times watching a Major League Baseball game.
7.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched a Major League Baseball game and you just see these guys making millions of dollars to play a game get so upset over a missed strike call, or
they're getting upset or you're getting upset.
They're getting upset.
They should. It's their job.
It is their job, but part of their job is being an example to these kids that are watching them. You're not setting a good example when you get a strike and you start yelling at the umpire, or you turn around and you break your bat over your knee or slam it, or like David Ortiz. It was a
Name dropping.
David Ortiz. I think it might have been a year or two before he retired. He had a 2-0 count, 2 balls, 0 strikes. No, he had just thrown the third ball, and the next pitch he thought was outside. He got called a strike. He was like, whatever. He brushed that one off. Got through another strike, and then he ends up swinging at the last ball for strike 3 and gets upset. You could tell he was mad. He was saying things, but he was walking back in. You can be mad. That's fine, but you got to keep control. He starts walking down the steps into the dugout, and they keep the camera on him, and he takes that bat and just starts beating the ever-living tar out of the phone and the case over the phone. That was right there. He's just swinging his bat, breaking it, throws it in the field. Well, he was so close to hitting one of his teammates with that bat. He lost control.
Yep.
He could have hit the guy, killed him, because he could hit him square in the face with that wood bat. That could have killed the man.
When we lose control, you never know.
And then he starts yelling, throwing things on the field, going up there, cursing at the umpire, throwing his batting gloves and his elbow. I don't know if he had an elbow protector. He lost control.
Have you ever been there?
I've never gotten that angry over a baseball game, but I have been that angry.
About anything.
Yeah, I've been there.
It's not fun, is it?
No. And the problem with that, what I'm getting to...
You're looking at it because he's playing a game.
He's getting paid millions of dollars to play a game.
Hmm? Does money play a large issue in emotions?
Yeah.
Nope.
Why not?
Emotions are emotions. You could be playing kickball in the backyard and throw somebody out. They didn't like it. Here we go. If you're an emotional person, they're an emotional person. It could turn into World War III there in the backyard over a free kickball game. You told me a couple of episodes ago if I stole $200 from Monopoly, we were going at it.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
But I mean, $200 Monopoly dollars is more than I have in my bank account right now. So money has something to do with it.
Nope. What's love got to do with it?
What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it.
Rest in peace, Tina.
All right, guys. I think we're going to call it quits here.
Call it quits.
We'll try to do this again sometime.
Yes, we will.
Have a good one.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.
Peace.
Later.
Gator.
Word.
And a wild crocodile.